Classic Mode uses your phone's camera feed and lays a transparent picture that you want to draw over that camera feed. If you look at your phone's screen, you'll be able to see the picture that you want to draw and the place where you want to draw it at the same time. This lets you easily trace an image onto any surface. To get started with Classic Mode, you need to suspend your phone above your drawing surface. You can use something like a tall glass, a spray can, or better yet, one of our Vinci Eye phone stands. Links to these stands can be found in the app. If you're using a glass or a can, it's recommended to add a loop of painter's tape to the top and the bottom of the glass, so the phone stays in place when you touch it. If you're a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. You can position the phone any way that is easiest for you to draw. Now it's time to position your image on the paper. Press the Move button, and with one finger you can move the image around. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, and even rotate the image relative to your paper. When you are done positioning your image, make sure to unpress the Move button. This locks your image in place so you can zoom in to draw fine details, or zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. To adjust the transparency or opacity of the image, press the Opacity button. This brings up the opacity slider. You can move the slider to make the image more or less transparent. You can also switch the opacity on and off using the opacity toggle. Now let's check out some need-to-know features located in the Tools menu. If the camera seems blurry while you're drawing, go to Tools, then Camera, and then you'll be able to adjust the focus manually using the focus slider. To apply image filters, press Tools, then slide the menu all the way over to Filters, then press Filters. From here, you can do things like change your image to grayscale, add posterization, or blur. Next to filters is the breakdown tool. This lets you break down your image into layers or steps by color value. For experienced artists, it'll help you analyze the no-tan or structure and composition of your artwork. For beginners, it turns any image into a draw-by-numbers project. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off. This allows you to easily compare color values of your reference image to your drawing. The last absolutely need-to-know feature is the record button. From there, you can record time-lapse videos of your drawings, just like these. Make sure if you post your time-lapse on social media to tag us for a repost. We're at Vinci Eye on all the social networks. If you need help with anything, press the question mark in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos, check out FAQs, or email us. We usually respond extremely fast to questions and feedback. And that wraps it up for our Classic Mode Quick Setup tutorial. For more in-depth videos, be sure to check out the instructional videos section of the app, or browse and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have tips and tricks, live streams, and guest artists teaching drawing and painting techniques using Vinci Eye. get started with AR mode, you will need to create an anchor. An anchor locks your reference image in place so you can move your phone or your canvas, and as long as the anchor is in view of the camera, your reference image will align itself back perfectly with what you are drawing. To get started, take a business card-sized piece of paper or larger. Then take a black pen or marker and add lots of squiggles with many intersecting points and different shapes. The more tiny little details, the better the anchor will work. Also, the larger you make your anchor, the further away from your canvas you can have the phone and still have an accurate placement. It's a good idea to tape your anchor in place on your paper before you draw. This ensures that your reference image will always be in the right place. You should be prompted to make an anchor right away. However, if you want to make a new anchor, press Tools, then AR, then Anchors. To upload your anchor, press Add Anchor. Then press the purple button at the bottom of the screen to bring up the camera. Make sure your camera is perfectly level with the anchor. You don't want to have it tilted like this, or else it could distort your overlay image when it's virtually projected on your paper. When you're finished, press Use Photo in the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, you need to crop your photo. Drag the corners of the cropping frame to just inside the edges of your anchor. Make sure there is no background visible. The last step is to measure your anchor. Make sure that it is at least 3.5 inches wide. Take a ruler and measure your anchor's width. Then, type in the width and press Done. You should be brought back to the Anchor Manager screen. Here, you can press Done in the top left corner. Now your image should appear on top of the anchor whenever the anchor is in view of your camera. Do not try and hold the phone in your hand and draw. You can easily make a stand out of objects found around your house, like with tape and a tall spray can, a tall glass, or a vase. You can also purchase an inexpensive stand like this one. A link to stands that we recommend can be found in the app. Now it's time to position your image where you want it on the paper. Use 2 fingers to zoom out so you can see your paper as a whole. Then, press the Move button, and using 1 finger, you can pan your image. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, or rotate the image. When you have the image exactly where you want it, press the Move button again to lock the image in proportion. Now, you can zoom in to draw fine details, or you can zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. To make the image more or less transparent, you can press the Opacity button in the bottom right corner of the screen. You can use the slider to make your image more or less transparent, or you can use the opacity toggle to turn the image on and off. Now let's check out some of the need-to-know features located in the Tools menu. Once you have the phone set up, you can turn off the phone's autofocus by going to Tools, then AR, then Fix Focus. This will also refocus the camera to your paper if the camera is blurry. To apply image filters, press Tools, then slide the menu all the way over to Filters, then press Filters. From here, you can do things like change your image to grayscale, add posterization, or add blur. Next to Filters is the Breakdown tool. This lets you break down your image into layers or steps by color value. For experienced artists, it's a great way to help you analyze the notan or structure and composition of your artwork. For beginners, it turns any image into a draw by numbers tutorial. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off. This makes it easier to see where you've drawn already and where you still need to draw, as well as helping you see what areas need to be lighter or darker. The last absolutely need-to-know feature is the Record button. From here, you can record time-lapse movies of your drawings without the overlay, just like this one. Make sure that if you post your time-lapse videos on social media to tag us for a repost. We're at Vinci Eye on all the social networks. We love to see what people are creating with the app. If you need help with anything, press the question mark button in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos on how to use the app, check out our FAQs page, or email us. We usually respond extremely fast and love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using the app. That wraps it up for the quick setup AR mode tutorial. For more in-depth videos, be sure to check out the instructional videos section of the app, or browse and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where we have tips and tricks, live streams, and guest artists teaching drawing and painting tutorials using the app.
Hello and welcome everybody who's watching me on YouTube. We're going to start a new drawing today. We are going to be drawing this cat today. So just a few things that I want to go over before we start. So just give me a minute. This thing's way too loud for my ears. Okay. So, first thing is, if you don't have the Vinci Eye App and you would like to try it for free for a year, there is a promo code for the iOS in the description. In Android, they just dropped their brand new version of the app, which includes the social media aspect that the iOS has been using for a while. And right now it's free. For certain features, though, there are some ads, so I recommend trying it, making sure you love the app before you buy it, and then also buy it as soon as possible, because in the past they have grandfathered people into the price that they originally agreed to. So just a heads up. And then also I want to say that if you want me to draw a reference photo, just send me it in my email and I will give you my drawing for free. Just so you know, there's going to be a few people who also draw your piece, but they're going to keep it. It's theirs. So yeah, there's that. Also, if you watch the slideshow, I would really love to add your artwork to the slideshow if that's something you're interested in. Just again, send me an email and some images. You can send more than one image. That would be great. And yeah, let's get started. First thing, I'm going to go into show you that app here. First thing is when you open the app, you'll see this as your front page. You want to go to the, just give me a second. So you're going to want to go to the top left corner where there are three purple lines, and then you're going to go into search profile. And then you just type in charitylowsart. Go into the little light bulb and then scroll down. All these images here you're free to use for whatever you want. So you press on the image. We're drawing this cat for this video and some future videos. You want to press the little picture icon. And then at the top right corner, it says plus draw this. Click on that. And then we're going into AR mode. And then I'm just going to lock focus. I already have the anchor flat on the table, so it's a good time to focus it. So you can download some anchor, you can download anchors from the website, the Vinci Eye App website, or even directly into the AR, go to anchors, at least I think so. I'm gonna see. Make anchor. So, okay, you can download an anchor from the website, print it off, and then it will automatically be aligned. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to make one yourself, you go make an anchor and you just follow all the steps that it takes you through. So first you'll scribble on a piece of paper, then you take an image, crop it out, and then you measure it, and then yeah, so there's that. I already have the anchor. First thing you want to do is make sure your paper that you're drawing on is fully, like you can see it completely on your screen, as well as your anchor. I want to make sure you can see it fully on your screen when you're drawing. So I'm using a 11 by 14 inch Bristol board paper. It's thick and it will allow me to do a few little tricks that will help me with drawing the cat. So I'll show you those. I got a giant clipboard here, so that way I can have more than one project going at once. It's really important for me because I have many projects going at once for different reasons. So you're going to tape it down. I like to tape all the way around with just over the edge of the paper. Oh, did I place it? I think I might need, no, it's fine. Sorry. I'm trying to make sure everybody can see it from different angles. Just thinking to myself. So there we go. And then with the anchor, this is what I like about the anchor. Can't do this with classic mode. Let's just move this image here for a second. Turn up the opacity so you can see it. So the anchor, it's what locks the image into place. It will also adjust to the tilt that you have the anchor at. So if you want to, you can have your drawing surface tilted if it's more comfortable for you, or you can have your phone tilted so you can see it better. I personally like to have my drawing surface flat, and I like to stream it to my TV, which is just above my head here. So we're just gonna put that down. Maybe we should use a bigger anchor. I'm using a bigger anchor because I want this camera to be able to see it a bit better. Makes it easier. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tape it down. So the bigger the anchor, the bigger the project you can do. If you have a small anchor for a small project, for a big project, it's not going to work out very well. But yeah. And I'm trying not to tape over the anchor at all, just around the edges. Okay, now that that's all settled in, press the move button and you can move it around. See the layout before you even start. You can enlarge it if you just want to do like a section of the drawing, or you can shrink it, make it nice and small. This would be good to add many different pictures in one drawing if you want. We're going to try to fill up the paper as much as possible. And you can also tilt your reference photo too. Just move your fingers. Okay, so now that we've got that, actually I think I might take some creative liberties here. and actually make it a bit bigger. So I think I like that better. I think I do. For my layout. Okay, and then we are going to turn off the move. Now that the move button's black, you can zoom in and we'll stay at the same proportions no matter how far you've zoomed in or zoomed out. And then you can change the opacity so that you can see either more of your reference photo or more of your drawing surface. So try to find a good medium between the two so you can do some tracing. What else are some good tools to know? Strobe is one of my favorites to use. I turn up the opacity to the fullest, and then it'll just blink back and forth between my drawing and my reference photo. This is great for pretty much playing spot the difference and getting really good photorealistic drawings. And then another one that I like to use is breakdown mode. And this one I like to use for my graphite pieces or watercolor pieces. So it gives you step-by-step stencils by color value. I like to turn off the cutout and have about 5 steps when I'm doing this. And then you go from lightest, and then you can change the opacity too. From lightest, you just shade it in lightly, and then go to the next step, a little darker, and then a little darker, and the darkest. So this is great for graphite and watercolor that I've noticed. So that's a nice tool to have. And then another tool that's fun to use is the record button. So it'll record your entire drawing surface, even if you're zoomed in, without the overlay of the reference image. It will just show your drawing only. And this is really good. Fun to watch personally, and it's also like fun to post too. It's very fun. So you just press the record button and then press record, start recording. So should we do that? Should we do a time-lapse video for this live? Do it completely all the way through? Let's do that. That's something different. That's something different indeed. And let's get started in the drawing. So the first thing I'm going to do, I can actually turn the tools off. There we go. Zoom in, and we're going to start tracing with a light graphite pencil. So H with the biggest number you have. Usually the most common one is a 4H, but I'm using a 2H because I don't have it. So we're just going to lightly do an outline of the main features of the cat. This will help make sure everything is perfectly aligned. Although that is not an issue with the AR mode. It will automatically save the position for you. So if you are using the app for a drawing for multiple days, then you don't have to worry about realigning it at all. So the key things that I'm trying to trace here, especially with the eyes, I want to trace around the darkest areas and the lightest areas. I'm not too worried about all the little like patterns of the cat fur. We will work on that later. So like the eyes, the nose, the ears, and then the outline of the cat. Just the basics. You are not going to be able to see much of what I'm tracing because it's so light, but I can see it. And that's how you want it to be. It's just so light that you can barely see it. Because we don't want the graphite poking through the colored pencils. I'm going to trace the chin. And remember, you can change the opacity to make it easier for you to see certain details. I find that if I'm working in darker areas, I need to have the opacity stronger. Like see the image more, like the reference image more than the drawing surface. But if it's in a lighter color, then I need to do the opposite. Or yeah. And basic outline tracing always looks weird. So if you're like, it still doesn't look right at this point, just know it's not, the outline lines is not everything. You need to add more details to make it look better and some contrast too. Okay, so we got the outline done. And when I'm using colored pencil, I like to start with one eye, then the other eye, then the nose, mouth, and then ears, and then kind of spread out. But let's go over some materials that we might want to use. So I have an empty pen. It's good for preserving whiskers or highlights in the eye. And then if you need a little extra at the end of drawing, use a gel pen for some extra highlights. Really good for shine. It's really good for shine marks. I personally am going to use a slightly altered set of Faber-Castell. Like I have one extra pencil in here. It's the 40-piece polychromos colored pencils with 8 matte graphites. That's the one that I'm using. But I'm going to use techniques that can be used with any pencil set that you have. So, yeah, even if you just have Crayola pencils, it should work. Now I'm going to show you some other tools that may be useful to you. So let me just, give me a second. Where did that go? Drop something. I think I dropped. Where did it go? Did it go under the table? Yes, it did. Okay. So I found some really interesting apps, or a interesting app that has multiple different versions to it. That is really great for anything colored. So it's called Color Pencil Picker. And it has, like, there's more than one app. This one has a bunch of different pencil sets. These ones are more for pro pencil sets. I'm just going to choose one here. And then you choose your image. You download the image that you want to use. And then you can zoom in and it will tell you what colors to use. So there is a free version of it. And it gives you 2 different colors to work with. So this one's like 2 layers of gray and 2 yellows of like a warm brown. And then this one's the paid version, so it gives me a 3rd color. And this one's got like a green color to it. This is great for helping you to learn how to blend colors to get the colors you want. I honestly don't use this anymore, but you can make your own pencil set using another app that's also called Colored Pencil Picker. And you can make your own pencil drawing set to work from. And how to do that, how to make your own, is you're gonna want to make a colored swatching thing, scan it, and then it'll do some stuff. But anyways, I'm not going to get into that because that's not really the app that I'm focusing on. So I used to use that app for picking colors, but now I use this where I have color swatches, all the colors with the number and the name of each one. This helps me, especially when I have like a printed copy, helps me be able to study the color that I need, and also like for the main color, and then also can help me see the small tints of other colors to draw my drawings. Now, a few things I want to say about color picking. You might not be able to see it very well, but in dark areas, like you can use a dark red and a dark green to help get really dark areas without it looking dead, instead of just using black. You can also put black over top of it, but it'll still give it more of a life to it. And shadows tend to be more of a cool tone. And where the light hits, the highlights tend to be a little bit more of a warm tone. It's not always true, but those are things that might help with picking colors for you. The color wheel, you know, it's like red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, and then back to red, and it just goes around in circles. Complementary colors like red and green make brown, and orange and blue make brown, and yellow and purple make brown. They just make a slightly different shade of brown. So that's also something that might be useful for you as well. So now we can get into drawing. So yeah, I think I went over everything. I'm going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom right into the eye here. And I'm going to, because there is a bright highlight, I'm going to take my empty pen, grab a spare piece of paper. Oh, there is some cardstock left. Okay. I like to do this every time I draw. I draw on a piece of blank paper to help get rid of any of the ink. So you just keep doing that. Like I take the ink out completely and then just draw until the ink just disappears. There's no other thing. And you want to do like a bunch of different angles for this to make sure you get all of it off. Okay, and then you're going to take it once it's done and you're going to press into the paper right where you want that highlight to be. Just push into the paper. And this only works for thick paper. It doesn't work for printer paper. So just be aware of that. I might want to go over it with some of that gel pen later. There are some other things I want to preserve around the eye, but here's another little trick. You can color those area, like the bright areas a little bit with a color. And this one looks like it's kind of got like a tan color, a skin tone, and a little bit of a very light yellow. I'm not going to use particular names. I'm just going to give you a general name for these colors that I'm using. So I'm going to go and get a bright skin toned. It's like right up here and right on the side. Just very light circular motions, light pressure. And I like to hold the pencil at the end, so I'm kind of using the side of the pencil. And you want to do really light layers. We could always build up if we need to, but we want to be able to layer the pencils. And the softer we put on it, the softer pressure, the more layers we can put down. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm not worried about all the little dark areas at the moment. I'm just working on, like, I can go over the little dark areas and make them darker later, but we're just getting that base light sections. And then we can go over with the pen. Why does this pen always seem like it's got something in it? Okay, and then we're going to now work on preserving those brighter areas by pushing onto the paper, pushing it down, and now we can go over it with darker colors and it'll be all preserved for later. So I want to kind of work from light and then work to dark and then go from dark to light again, like light to dark, dark to light. You'll see why the further we get along, like the further we get in this drawing. So I'm going to take my little color swatch, and right now I'm actually going to work on the outer part of the eye. Here it kind of looks more like a very light yellow on the edge. So we're going to use that light yellow that we did earlier. I'm not going to preserve it by going over top of it with a pen. I only really use that for smaller areas, not large areas. I'm going to do circular motions all the way around. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like if you get a little bit of out of the lines, that's fine. But I like to It's perfectly fine. Everything's fine. My mom got me a t-shirt with a cat that looks like it's just been through a lot, and it's like, I'm fine, everything's fine. So you don't have to print off your reference. You can just grab another device like your computer or a tablet to look at. Might be a little bit easier in some ways because you can zoom in and just focus on just that one area with the colors. Now it looks like you might have a slight green color. And to me, it looks more of like a olive green. Olive green is kind of a little, like, I don't know how to explain it. I really don't know how to explain it. This one I'm going to try to be a little bit more accurate with than I was with the yellow, because I want to still have that yellow that's around the eyes. Just light pressure and circular motions. And we can kind of make it a little bit softer pressure just to kind of help make it blend in. A nice blended technique, because pencils do not blend. You have to learn a technique to get that right. So I can go over that real quick. So how I like to do it, I'll use some bright colors here. Some very different bright colors. So I build up a lot of one color, so it's nice and vibrant. And then I move it across a little bit, make it a bit lighter as I go across. And then get lighter and lighter as I go. And then we could do multiple layers of this just to get it nice and blended. So now I'm going to use a pink. So nice. And try to do soft light layers and just go over it multiple times to get it nice and dark. And then when you move it across, you just want to get it less and less, and then just keep doing layers and layers of this. Let's see. You might be able to see it better in this angle. Just build it up. Overlap. Make sure you get softer as you get closer to the other color. Oh, where is a good spot? I'm just trying to figure out where the good spot is for showing you on the camera. And just keep going back and forth until you like the vibrancy of the color that you want. And then there are a couple of ways called varnish. One is using a lighter version of the color that you're using, and you press quite a bit. This is when you know you got the right colors you want. You press quite a bit on it just to fill in all the gaps. And then you can switch over to a lighter version of the other color and do the same. Put in quite a bit of pressure on it. This is when you know you got the right color, or it's close enough that you don't think anybody's gonna notice. So that is one way to blend it. Or there's another option, but it does kind of make the colors kind of softer, like a softer pastel. You can, I guess there's 3 other ways. You can use a white pencil, do the same thing, push quite a bit of pressure onto it, but it also lightens up the colors. So you want to be careful with that. Or there are such things as colorless pencils. I have a Prismacolor colorless pencil. Just need to clean that off a little bit. And you just push into the paper and you just move it across, and you don't need to change your pencils or anything, and it still keeps that vibrant color. There's also other things you can use. You can use like rubbing alcohol. There's some other like solutions you can use, and you got to make sure you get the right kind if you want to use a solution instead, because each type, like pencils have different types. There's like oil types and wax types, so you need to make sure you do some research on what to do. But I just want to let you know, when you're doing more chemical blending, it might look more like markers at the end, like you're using markers. So just be aware of that. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's your choice, your drawings, whatever. It's fine. Everything's fine. Okay, there's a shadow on the top part of the eye, and I can kind of see it's more of a warm tone, almost. Well, let's take a look at our swatches here. It's almost kind of like a cinnamon kind of brown, like warm orange red brown. That's what it looks like to me. So I'd use a light, if you don't have like an orangey, reddish brown, I'd use a light brown and then just add a little bit of orange over top of it to create that color. So just light pressure and circular motions. We can overlap what we've already done. I'm going to turn on the strobe. So let's put on the tools. Go to strobe. So that way we can see the difference between what we've drawn and what we still need to draw. I really hope that this mark doesn't stay on there. And then I'm going to add a little bit of a darker yellow, darker than what I used, but still pretty light. This is a pastel yellow. And go around the edges again. Okay, just taking another look, seeing if there's another color that I can see. And there's a bit of a gray, but I don't have a light gray, so I don't really want to use that personally. So now we're going to decide which type of blending tool we want to use. I think the colors that I used are a little bit too vibrant, so I'm actually going to choose white. And I'm only going to push onto the area, like the colored areas, not in the dark areas, like the pupil. I'm going to work around the lighter areas, the iris. Because we don't want to get into those dark areas, otherwise we won't be able to put any more color on it. It will not stick to the paper. But I am putting quite a bit of pressure. Okay, now you may not notice this if you aren't looking for it, but there is a highlight on the pupil of the eye that's not the bright white. It's more of like a blue gray. So we're going to do a blue gray. If you don't have a blue gray, then you just use a gray and then add a little bit of blue on top. So let me find the lightest gray I have. And I'm going to trace around the entire pupil. Get that shape in there. I'm looking at the strobing reference through the app at this point, just to get the right shape. We're working on getting the right shape. And because I want it to be more accurate, I'm actually holding the pencil closer to the tip just so that I can get that accuracy. And you want to try to keep your pencils nice and sharp throughout this entire process. For the bigger areas and the smaller areas, you want to have a nice sharp pencil. Okay, now I can hold it back a little bit. I still want some control, but I want to do light pressure and circular motions. Now you can try, if you want to, another way to deal with the highlights, try to preserve it and draw around it, or trust that the indent is going to do enough, or get yourself a gel pen for those highlights later. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of blue on top. I'm just going to see which blue would match the best for this. And it's kind of like a light sky blue. And then I'm just going to put that right where that highlight is. I'm not going to put it all the way around, just a little bit in that highlight. Light pressure. Now we can go and use black. So now we're going to try to preserve that highlight. So let's trace that image, that shape around it, putting quite a bit of pressure, not a whole bunch of pressure, but enough to get it darker. Okay. And then the top part too, we can also focus a little bit more on looking at on the paper that you printed off or your tablet to kind of help guide you with the shape. Whatever is easiest for you to see. And then I'm gonna start putting quite a bit of pressure on it because it is black on the just above it and below that little highlight. So, and try to stay in the shapes. You want to have a nice sharp edge around it. Now the circle that's around the eye is more of a brown with a tint of red. We're going to start with a really, really dark red around there. It's almost brown type red. Okay, and then we're going to trace very carefully that circle, and I'm holding closer to the end of the pencil, or like the tip of the pencil, so I can have some more control than I normally would if I was just trying to fill in the space, a bigger space. I want to have nice and good control here. You got to be very careful with the details because you can't erase them for most pencils. You know what I like about the Faber-Castell Polychromos is that they do erase a little bit. But I'm going to try to just use techniques that would work with any pencil set you have. Is my friend Raven here today? Because I need somebody to talk to. Feel free to ask questions during this live. I'm here to help you. So over top this red, this very dark red is a brown. The three browns I have are very close to the same color, so I'm gonna just choose one randomly. I'm not too worried about it being exact. So still wanting quite a bit of control, so I'm holding it close to the tip of the pencil, using the tip of the pencil just to darken that up. I don't want to put a whole bunch of pressure on it, but enough to be able to get some of that color on there. And then I think I will go over it with a black too. I'm going to use my colorless pencil. this pencil is starting to die. I need a handheld pencil sharpener for this. Where are my handheld pencil sharpeners? Where are my handheld pencil sharpeners? Oh, that's beads. Why do I have beads? Where would they be? Are they in here? Is there any in here? No. Okay. I'm going to just grab a new one. I don't know where my little handheld pencil sharpener is. This is going to take a while because this is a brand new one that's not even sharpened at all. So just give me a minute. Okay, I am going to blend, but I'm going to blend in the direction of the lines, not going in and out, just around. Just like I was drawing. And I'm putting a lot of pressure on here. We're doing some varnishing at this point with the eye. So just all the way around. And this is a colorless pencil because I want it to be the same intensity as the color that's already on the paper. If I wanted to soften it up, I would use white just to brighten it up a little bit. But again, I want to try to keep that darkness. I see a little bit of a gradual change in the color right where that light area is that we tried to preserve. I'm going to see if I can make that with those marks that I've already done. So I'm going to take like a darker skin tone than I was using before. This is just a very small detail. So I'm going to use holding it close to the tip of the pencil because I want some control. And then we're going to put a little bit of pressure on there and then slowly get lighter on the way down. Slowly get lighter. And I do want this to still be more white. I'm going to use the white pencil to kind of blend that in. Just some circular motions and just dragging it down. And now we're going to work on the dark part just above the eye that kind of look like eyelashes. So I'm just going to turn off strobe for a minute so I can get a better idea of the shape. Make sure I get a better accuracy of the shape of the dark areas. So I'm working on, let me just see if I can turn this down just a little bit. I'm gonna work on right in here. I'm gonna get that nice and dark. I'm gonna start off with a really dark red. It's almost brown in that area. Let's see. So I'm going to do the really dark red. I'm going to trace that shape and try to have like a bit of like a fur line texture around it too. We want that texture. Just tracing that shape. Just so we know where we're going to work on, what areas we're going to work on. Okay, so light, pressure, and circular motions, and we want to have control because these are such tiny little details. We're going to hold it closer to the tip of the pencil, and we're using the tip of the pencil. But still light, pressure, and circular motions. And trying to stay within those lines that you just traced. Okay, and then we're gonna go in. I'm gonna switch things up just a little bit. I'm actually gonna use a really dark green in the upper part of the section. Just to kind of give it more life. Just light pressure, circular motions, and we're working on tiny details, so we're using the tip of the pencil. And then we're gonna go over it with a really dark brown. There's many different colors in here. So I didn't put the green everywhere in this shadow, I just put it on the very top, because that's where I can kind of see where there might be some green. And then the last color we're going to put on it is black. We're still doing somewhat of a lighter pressure too. Okay. Then we're going to work on the little dark sections underneath the eye, which is also like a dark red, brown, maybe a smidge of green and black. There's lots there. You don't have to be as crazy as I am with color picking. Just pick the color that's closest to what you see, and it should be fine. I just want to make sure I get the eyes and around the eyes as close to the original as possible. So I did red, maybe a smidge of green in certain areas. I do it on the outer part of the eye. And then a little bit of brown. And because it's small details, I am holding it closer to the tip of the pencil. And a little bit of black. Okay, I know it seems like we haven't gotten very far with this drawing, but it is time for a quick break. So I'll be back and you get to watch a little tutorial of how to do stuff, blah, 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 with Sam. Sam, the developer, has made this video, so let's watch it. It's a little bit out of date, but you still get the idea.
Vinci Eye uses your phone's camera feed and lays a transparent picture that you want to draw over that camera feed. If you look at your phone's screen, you'll be able to see both the picture that you want to draw and the place where you want to draw it at the same time. This lets you easily trace an image onto any surface. To get started, you need to place your phone on top of a tall glass. If your phone doesn't have a case, it might slide around when you touch it. This makes adjusting settings while you're drawing very difficult. To fix this, cut a long piece of tape and fold it into a loop. Place the tape loop on top of your glass, and this will stop the phone from moving around. You can also place a tape loop on the bottom of your glass to stop the glass from moving around. If you're a lefty or a righty, it doesn't matter. You can position the phone any way that is easiest for you to draw. The higher that your phone is positioned, the more of the canvas you'll be able to see and the larger the picture you will be able to draw. Tall aerosol spray cans work great, or you can use one of our Vinci Eye phone stands, which lets you easily adjust the height and position of your phone. Links to these stands can be found in the app. Now it's time to position the image on your paper. Press the move button, and using one finger you can pan the image. Using 2 fingers, you can zoom, shrink, and rotate the image. When the move button is unpressed, the camera will be locked together with the reference image. This lets you zoom out to see your drawing as a whole, or zoom in so you can draw fine details. To make your image more or less transparent, you can use the opacity slider. Move the slider to the left to make your picture more transparent, and to the right to make it less transparent. If you find that your pencil or paper is blurry as you're drawing, you can adjust the focus of your camera by pressing Tools, then Camera, and then Fix Focus. To record a time lapse, like this one while you draw, press Tools, then scroll all the way to the right, press the Record option, and then press the Record On switch. One of the most powerful tools in the app is the strobe feature. This strobes the image on and off so that you can compare color values and you can see places where you still need to draw. In addition to the multiple filters in the Filters tab, there is also the Breakdown feature in the Breakdown tab. This breaks down your image into layers by color value. For beginners, it turns your photos into a draw by numbers project. Or for advanced artists, it can help you analyze the structure and composition of what you are about to draw or paint. If you need help with anything, you can always press the help question mark in the top right hand corner of the screen. From there, you can watch instructional videos, check out our frequently asked questions, and even email us. We usually respond to emails extremely fast, and we love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using our app. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest to see instructional videos and demos of how to use all of the amazing features that are in Vinci Eye. started with AR mode, you will need to create an anchor. An anchor locks your reference image in place, so you can move your phone or your canvas, and as long as the anchor is in the camera's view, your reference image will align itself back perfectly with what you are drawing. To get started, take a business card-sized piece of paper, or larger. Then take a black marker and do your best Jackson Pollock impression. Make a lot of squiggles with many intersecting points and different shapes. The more tiny little details, the better. The larger you make your anchor, the further away from your canvas you can have the phone and still have accurate placement. It's a good idea to tape your anchor in place on your paper before you draw. This ensures that your reference image will always be in the right place. You should be prompted to make an anchor right away. However, if you want to make a new anchor, press Tools, then AR, then Anchors. To upload your anchor, press Add Anchor in the top right corner of the screen. Press the purple button at the bottom of the screen to bring up the camera. Make sure your camera is perfectly level with the anchor. You don't want to have it tilted like this or like this, or else it could distort your overlay image when it is projected onto your paper. When you're finished taking a picture, press the OK button at the bottom right corner of the screen. Next, you need to crop your anchor. Drag the corners of the cropping frame to the edges of your anchor. Make sure there is no background visible. Then, press Crop at the top right corner of the screen. The last step is to measure your anchor. Make sure that it is at least 3.5 inches or 8 centimeters wide. Now press Done. Now press Use Anchor. Your image should now appear on top of the anchor whenever the anchor is in view. Do not hold the phone in your hand and try to draw. You can easily make a stand out of objects found around your house, like with tape and a tall glass, tape and a tall spray can. You can also purchase an inexpensive stand like this one. A link to stands that we recommend can be found in the app. If your camera is not in focus, press Tools, then Camera, and then Fix Focus. This will refocus the camera to your paper. Your image will appear in the center of your anchor. To position your image on your paper, use 2 fingers to zoom out so you can see your paper as a whole. Then press the Move button, and using 1 finger, you can pan your image. Using 2 fingers, you can enlarge, shrink, and rotate your image. When you're done, make sure to press the Move button again to lock the image in proportion so you can zoom in to draw fine details, or you can zoom out to see your drawing as a whole. Now you can adjust the opacity. Press the opacity button in the bottom right corner of the screen to make the image more or less transparent. To apply image filters, go to Tools, then Filters, and then press the Filters button. Filters can make your image easier to draw by helping you see different elements more clearly. You can also use the Breakdown tool by going to Tools, then Breakdown, and then Setup. This lets you break down your image into layers by color value. This is great for turning any image into a paint by numbers tutorial, or if you're an advanced artist, it can help you analyze the no-tan or structure and composition of your artwork. To use the strobe feature, go to Tools, then Strobe. This tool slowly flashes the overlay image on and off, allowing you to easily compare color values of your reference image to your drawing. This is one of the most powerful tools in the entire app. To get to the last absolutely need to know feature, press Tools, then slide all the way to the right and press Record. Then turn the record switch on. This lets you record awesome time lapses of your artwork without the overlay, just like this one. Make sure if you post your time-lapse videos on social media to tag us at Vinci Eye for a repost. If you need help with anything, you can always press the help question mark in the top right corner of the screen. From there, you can check out our frequently asked questions, watch instructional videos, and even email us. We usually respond extremely fast emails and love to hear from artists and aspiring artists using the app. Be sure to subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and Pinterest to see instructional videos and demos how to use all the awesome features Vinci Eye has built in.
Okay, welcome. I just reprinted the image, so it's on. The color's a little bit different on this one. Kind of like it better. Okay, reprinted the image. It's fine. It might be a little different color. So, a little bit about me. I am not the app developer. I am a big fan of the app, and I asked them for a job, and that's why I'm here. It started off with a few little things, and now it's just a full-time job for me. So, I am here to help you with setting up the tutorial. Set up the tutorial. I'm listening to myself, and it's distracting. Okay, so I'm here to help set you up with the app and teach you how to use it to the fullest, capabilities of doing photorealistic art. But because of my work and I get to make ads, I have had experience with multiple different mediums, paints, pencils, markers, wood burning, fake stained glass painting, window painting, murals, just a non-stop. So if there's something you want me to go over, just to get you started, just let me know. I will also do more than just pet portraits and people portraits. Whatever you want me to go over would be great. But I am highly skilled with pencil work. So I can get you really far in that if you'd like me to do that. If you have a particular image you want me to draw, just send me an email. The email's in the description. And we'll draw it live, we'll work on it together, and then I will even give you my drawing for free. I will send it to you for free. It doesn't matter where you are. I'm all good. It's all fine. If you want to try the app for free for a year, there is a promo code in the description for iOS. Android is currently free because they just dropped their brand new version of it, which is an added feature of a social platform that they have, the iOS had already. So you can use it for free. It does have some ads for some of the features like strobe. So try it for free. Make sure you love the app. Once you know that you're going to be using the app frequently, then buy it as soon as possible, because in the past they've just grandfathered people into the price that they originally agreed to. So yeah, do that sooner than later. And I think that's it. Join the Facebook group. We have a community there. We post all the time. I'm always there. I'm checking there all the time. If you need any extra help, don't hesitate to contact me or the app developer. You can contact me through the Facebook group, or you can email Sam, who is the app developer, through info@davinciieapp.com. He responds quite quickly, so yeah. Is there anything else that I want to go over? For the reference photo, you can find it on my personal Facebook page, Charity Lows Art, in the featured posts, or in the featured post in the Facebook group, or you can find it directly in the app. If you search up my profile and then my inspiration photos, it should pop up. I have a whole bunch of stencils, a lot of holiday themed stencils that I'm making right now that are free to use for whatever purpose you want. I don't care if you're making little trinkets to sell. You just go ahead and use them. So, other than that, if you have any questions during the live, just let me know. I will answer them as soon as possible. Don't worry about interrupting me during my drawing. I'm here for you. I'm here to help you out. So if you need anything, just let me know. So let's get going again. So I'm gonna work on that highlighted areas a little bit more. I got a new print of the cat, which totally changed the color. It almost like a cooler color. This one was a warmer color. Probably because of the different types of paper I'm using. But I think we're good. We can continue doing what we're doing. So let's use a light yellow. I know we already did this, but I want to go over it again. A light yellow, light pressure and circular motions. I am holding it close to the tip of the pencil at this point because it's very small details. I need some more control. I need to control this. Okay, and then a light gray. I don't have a very light gray, but I am going to use light pressure. Very, very light pressure. And this one's more for like the little details. I think I might add some of that gray to that dark areas that we did earlier. Because the image, for some reason, that I just printed is a little bit cooler than the one that I just had. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. And then around the eye, the iris, I'm going to add a little bit of gray around too, just to cool it down a bit. So I want to show you, this is the original picture I printed. And then this is what I just printed now. So it's very different. But even if you had a slight difference in color, if you do it all in the same tones, it should look fine. Nobody's going to know the difference. That's why I'm not really focusing on the exact colors when I'm telling you which ones I'm using. So it's just the general description. So I'm still going to use a gray for a little bit of some dark patterns just underneath the eye here. And I'm doing circular motions for the larger areas and just following the direction of the fur. Just a little bit of a tip: when you're drawing fur on any animal, the fur likes to grow out from the center of the nose. Goes from the center outwards. Is there any other tones that I can see in there? Maybe a bit of a skin tone. Just a little bit. Not in all of that space, just in a few bits of that space. Okay. Like a very light blue in this little lighter area, just underneath that dark line underneath the eye. Just a little bit there. And then I'm going to do that little dark section. It's kind of more of a skin tone. You'd always compare your colors to your little swatches you done earlier. And then gray over top of that. Okay, I don't think I really want to blend anything out right now. I kind of want to do I'm good with the eyes. I'm good with blending the eyes, but I don't want to blend the fur quite yet. I don't want to varnish it or whatever you call it. Whatever it's called. So very light yellow around. Well, yeah, very light yellow. Sorry, I'm just thinking. So we're gonna pretty much use the exact same colors we used on the other side for the iris. We're gonna do light pressure and circular motions. And then we're going to use that olive green to go around closer to, well, actually, before we do that, let's preserve that highlight using that empty pen and pushing down on the paper just to indent it. And then I think I might as well, since I'm here, might as well, no, let's leave it alone for now. We want to color it still. I want to color it a light color. So we're going to use that olive green to go around the outside of the pupil. So it's like an earthy, yellowy, brownish, I don't know, green. And then I'm going to use a bit of some dark skin tone. Let me just take a closer look. Let me study it for a minute before I jump in. I think I might do a very small amount of brown. It was kind of like the warm orange brown, just around the top here. I'm gonna try to add a little bit more to the other eye too, just a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna get a bit of a pastel yellow on this, on the outer side, just to kind of help match it to the other eye. We want the eye to look like it belongs to the same cat. Okay, I can't remember. Did we use white to blend for this? I don't remember. I think we'll still use white because we want it to be really soft. And I'm not really going all the way to the edge because I do want some flexibility for other colors that are surrounding it, and then I can blend it a little bit more after I've done that. So the next part we're going to work on with the eye is the pupil, which there is, if you look at the picture, a bit of a lighter area that's not white surrounding that white area. So we want to have that. So it's still like a blue-gray. I'm going to start with a gray. Very, very light. I'm going to look at the app and just trace that shape out first of the entire pupil. And then if you can see the shape on the app, try to trace it. You can adjust the opacity to do that, or you can just freehand it, freehand that shape. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nobody will know. So I'm just going to do some light circular motions all over it. I think we might need to shape that out again later because we just covered it up. I did that not thinking. Okay, I'm going to use a light blue. This one's a very pastel blue over top of it. We don't have to go all over the place. You can if you want, but just try to get at least that highlighted area with a bit of blue. Now I'm going to reshape out the highlight with a black pencil this time. And then I'm going to put in quite a bit of pressure, not to the point where you indent the paper. We don't want to indent the paper. And then we're going to I'm going to use a colorless blending pencil. And then I'm just doing some circular motions. There's a spot that needs to be darker, so I'm going to add some more there. And then kind of lost that highlight. I'm going to go over those highlights with a white pencil. Okay, I don't really see much red anymore around anywhere on this cat. There might be some in some places, but let me just study this for a minute. I think I'll still add a little bit of red, but not as much as I did before. We're going around the eye now. This is a very dark, deep red that I'm using. Almost brown, not quite brown though. I'm just doing very light pressure. No circular motions. I am not doing any circular motions. There's a bit of a green to it too, so I'm gonna go over it with some green. This cat looks like it's seeing some stuff. Crazy stuff. Okay, I'm gonna use gray because it's mostly gray in this picture at least. And a bit of black. I'm not going to go all the way around with the black. I've noticed that there's some spots of it that's darker than others. So the black is going to go on the inner part. And then a couple of little spots on the other side that are really dark. Okay, now we're going to work on the light areas around that. I'm gonna see, let's look at the swatches we've done and see, like there's a bit of a light skin tone, a very, very light bit of blue, and maybe a very, very light amount of gray. Let's do a light skin tone. I see that on the right side of that eye. So I am doing circular motions, but I am still holding it closer to the pencil, like the tip of the pencil, because again, I want to try to have more control over it. Just very, very, very light pressure. Let me see this again. And then a little bit right here. Right on the bottom left. And then we got a very light blue right on the inner corner. I think I'll go over it with the white just to kind of help blend it, soften it up, fill in the gaps a bit, but I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. And then I'm going to go in with the empty pen, and I'm going to put some pressure, dent the paper where those highlights are. just so we can preserve them a little easier, that's why. Just in the really small areas. I'm not worried about the bigger sections, just the small sections. So like the one on like the right part of the eye, I'm not worried about preserving that with the empty pen. Now I'm gonna work on the little dark section that kind of looks like it would be eyelashes if it was a human. Just studying it, trying to see what colors would best work with this. So I see a bit of really dark red, like we normally have been using. Maybe a little bit of like an orangey brown on the tips of it. Black and green. Maybe brown. So let's trace. I'm going to trace using the red, black, very dark red tone or color. We're not filling it in quite yet. We're just trying to get the shape and the texture. And we're only doing just above the eye too. Okay, now we're gonna do light pressure, circular motions, and I am holding it at the end, like the tip of the pencil, because I want a little bit more control. Maybe just a smudge of that orange brown. Just on the tips on the right side. That's where I see it. And then some green, dark green. I see a little bit of blue too in some parts of it. So I'm just gonna get that really dark spot right here with the green. I'm not covering it all with green. Just where I see it, where it can be. I made a little bit of a boo-boo because I was focusing on the color more than the actual shape. So I kind of went over that highlighted area. Hopefully after putting some layers of other things on there, it will come back to look a little bit darker. And then we're going to use a dark brown. go over that green. And some black. And I'm mostly focusing right on the drawing at this point. I'm not really looking at the app at the moment because the details are so tiny. I don't want to lose any of them. So just looking back and forth from the printed copy of the reference photo to my drawing. And then I'm going to add a little bit of blue just at the bottom of this corner of the eye, the inner corner. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit of texture using mostly gray and some skin tone. So the skin tone is more underneath with a little bit, like it's a little skin tone and a little bit of blue. So let's do the skin tone, the really light skin tone. We're just going to go over it. I'm kind of holding the pencil a little bit further back because I don't really care too much about accuracy for the underlayer. I like to work with light, moving it towards the dark in each section. And then we're going to add a little bit of blue. I see it mostly just like right under the eye. That's where I see it. And then like right in the areas of where it kind of meets that skin tone to the gray. So just a little bit there too. And let's go and get some texture going with the gray. So I'm trying to make it as accurate as possible, so I'm really focusing on the reference photo through the app. And we're not going to blend this out yet. This is just so we got something started at least. We're gonna blend it all in after we've got the majority of it done. So there is the texture. You don't have to be exact, but I'm crazy. I like to try to be as almost exact to what we see. So I think that's a good start for the eyes. We can move on to the nose. Almost looks like an owl right now. The nose should be fairly simple. Because you look through the the phone, you only really see two different tones. You see like a brown and then a black all the way around it. But you know me, I'm gonna make it complicated. So I'm studying it. The reference from the paper I printed it on. So I'm going to use a dark skin tone with a touch of gray, I think. And that's for the center of the nose, where the highlight is. So we're going to do light circular motions with, well, light pressure circular motions. And I am holding closer to the tip of the pencil because, I still want more control. I want as much control as possible. I'm controlling. And then a little bit of gray over top of it, very, very lightly. And I can focus a little bit more on the drawing than the app at this point, because we already got the placement of where we want it to be. Now I'm going to take a look at it, looking at my reference photo compared to my drawing just through the printed one, and let's see if we can find anything else that we might need for colors. And I think we got it spot on. So let's move on to the darker parts of the nose. We're going to start off with a dark brown. I'm going to turn up the opacity ever so slightly on the app. That way I can kind of see the shadows a little bit better. And then we're just going to trace the outline of the dark shadows, the dark parts of the nose. So the inner shape and then the external shape. And I'm going to start with the darker brown, just to fill it in, focusing on the drawing more than anything else at this point. Just want to fill in that shape. Light pressure, circular motions, but holding the tip of the pencil because, again, we want to be able to control it a little bit better. And then we can go in with the black because it's the only color I see. I'm going to trace it out again. Trace that shape again because I kind of lost it because it's nearly the same shade and color as the highlight, even though I did use a different color than that. And we don't need to make it solid black. That's why we did the brown underneath. Because, yeah, we don't want it to be solid black. Okay, and then we're just going to fill that in using circular motions, light pressure. And if we want to get it darker, we can do more layers or add a little bit more pressure. But you want to try to avoid denting the paper if you're not trying to preserve a space, like highlights and stuff. Just darkening the very bottom of the nose and the nostrils a bit, making them a little bit darker than the rest of that area. I'm going to take a colorless pencil because I still want it pretty dark, and I'm going to go in circular motions, really tight circular motions. I'm going around the dark areas first, putting quite a bit of pressure, but also you're trying not to indent the paper. So just do your best not to scrub on the paper because we don't want it to wreck the paper. And then I'm going to go in the center of it, still using the colored pencil or colorless pencil to do this section. And let's see. There is a bit of a highlight on the nose. We can add a little bit of white over top of it. There we go. It's a very small detail. But again, I'm insane, so... Now, looking in the general space of just above the nose, looking at like the lightest, most common color that we can put underneath. And this one's got more of warm tones than the rest of the cat does. So let's take a look and see what that brightest color is that covers that pretty much the entire space. Let's see what color matches it the best. So it's kind of like an orange brown. And this, we're going to do a very, very, very light shade. Trying to preserve just around the eye where it's really bright. Just, it's like a, almost like a triangular shape of this color here. We're just gonna lightly, I'm holding the pencil further back because this is a bigger area. I don't need to control it as much as I did for those smaller details. And trying to use the side of my pencil more than the tip. Circular motions and light pressure. Very light pressure. We just wanna add a little bit of this color. Let's see what colors, I'm gonna see what colors we can find. I think it's just the gray detailing at this point because I think that color is perfect. Perfect. So we just, this one's gonna be closer to the tip of the pencil because I want to control it a bit more. And we're doing very light pressure and adding those details. So pretty much just focusing on those darker areas that you see on the app to get those details placed pretty close to almost exact. And then we can focus a little bit more looking at the reference on the printed copy compared to our drawing. I forgot it was Friday. Well, like, I forgot it's Friday hours for my son. I didn't forget it was Friday. Just forgot that my son's coming home early. Okay, I think I'm gonna use a blend, the colorless blending pencil, and just kind of go in the direction of the fur. You can kind of do circular motions, but just, and we're not putting so much pressure that it indents the paper. We just want enough to kind of help push it into the gaps. Looking a little silly. Okay, now we're gonna move on to the mouth and whiskers. We can actually put in the whiskers now. So I'm gonna zoom out, just kind of work on half of them. So the whiskers they do look pure white. So we're gonna take the empty pen. And they don't have to be perfectly placed, but we're gonna indent the paper right where they're at, just where you can see the bright white. There's a name for this technique, but I don't remember what it's called. So there's that side for whiskers. Now we're going to work on this side for whiskers. So we are purposely indenting the paper. We want to do a nice, solid stroke. We don't do sketchy strokes with this. Nice and fluid. Now, I kind of want to do the entire area from like the bottom part of the nose down to the chin. And we're going to focus on the lightest colors, which it's kind of that orangish brown again for like up higher. Then it turns into more of a light yellow. There's still a little bit of that orange, like brownish orange, just underneath the mouth and the dark lines of the mouth. So let's start with that. And it's very light, so we're going to do very light circular motions. Very, very light. And we're holding the pencil a little bit closer to the end so that we can have even lighter pressure than we normally would. And then we're going to go in that really bright, not bright, very pale yellow. Also very light pressure and circular motions. This is going to be kind of used as like a transitioning color between that orange brown and the rest of that. There is a very, very slight blue in parts of this face as well. So I'm going to take the lightest blue I have. You're not going to be able to see much on the paper while I'm working on it. So now that we've got, I think, the majority of that, let's see. Do we have white anywhere? Just a little bit under the lip. So I'm going to go over it, all of it, with that very pale yellow again, just all over it, because it's not pure white anywhere, except for like, well, there is a few little pure white spots right next to the little split underneath the nose and the above the mouth. And then there's a little bit of a really bright highlight on that same side. It's on the left. So I'm going to leave those little sections alone. I'm not going to touch them. But I am going to put that very light shade, pale shade of yellow. Now, let's focus on the lips. Well, the mouth, not really lips. It's kind of like a very pale brown. So I'm gonna use the softest brown I've got, the lightest. And we're gonna hold it closer to the tip of the pencil. Okay, so we want it nice and sharp. I'm going to hold it to the tip, doing very light pressure, circular motions, and just trying to create those little shapes and lines and spots. But I'm really focusing on the mouth. I'm not worrying about anything else at this moment, just the mouth. And then I'm going to go over it with some gray, same spots. I think I might add a little bit of olive green to it because I'm starting to see that too in comparison to what I have. And then over it with like that orange brown tone. I think I might need a little bit more gray. So we're just tweaking the colors as we go. You gotta train your eyes on how to see colors. And that other app that I showed you earlier in the video, it will help you. It will help you train your eyes to see. Okay. Now we're going to add the little details, and I'm going to be using gray to start. So light pressure, circular motions, and I'm holding the pencil kind of part way up because I do want some control, but I don't need a whole bunch of control because yeah, I don't know what the because is. We're not working on the accuracy. We're just working on getting those shapes and the placements. Now that we got that, we can move on to adding a little bit, like getting it a little bit darker in some areas, not as much as we've done. So I'm going to put on the strobe again, turn up the opacity to the fullest so we can kind of see where it needs to be a bit darker. It looks like the one eye kind of made a little bit smaller than the other. Now that we're seeing it kind of flip back and forth. Do you see that? I'm getting distracted. Okay. We're working on getting some of those darker spots in, right? That's what we started doing, right? You can kind of start seeing where those lines are that we were preserving earlier. You can kind of start seeing them pop up a bit. And there's some few lighter areas underneath the lip. So I'm going to hold it back a little further again because I really want some light, very light gray. I don't want to put too much pressure on because we don't want to get it too dark. Now I'm kind of just finding some of the shading of it. Still using the gray. But I need to stretch. Stop talking. Guys, you need to start chatting with me. Okay. Just very light pressure. I'm just trying to get those subtle shadows or prints. I'm going to compare it to my printed copy of this in a minute, just to make sure the colors are still accurate. So I think I might want to use a bit of brown, very lightly. It's very subtleties of this cat. It's little. That one eye is really messing with me when it's flashing back and forth. Can you see that? Can you see how that one eye right here is just popping up? Do you see the change? It kind of looks like it gets bigger. Oh well, it's very minor. I don't think anybody's really gonna notice, except for me. I see it, now I know it, but I don't want to play around with it anymore. Okay, I think I'm just gonna add a few little textured pieces in here. Just remember, the hair grows from the nose outwards. So I'm just adding a few little lines, very short lines, just to give it a little bit more texture. And then I think I might go over with a little bit of black for some of these little dots here. So really dark dots. Right here, is that a dark spot? Yes, it is. Kind of doing like tiny little scratches, just tiny little marks. I'm using the tip of my pencil and just trying to create some fur texture while I'm doing this. So I'm picking up and placing down for each stroke. Pick up, put down, stroke, pick up, like over and over again. Okay, now I'm going to take my colorless pencil and I'm just going to go up and down or towards the center of the face, outwards, just back and forth. It's not going to blend a whole bunch, but it is going to push that color right into the page to make it a little bit more vibrant. I'm not going all the way out to all of the sections that I've done because I want to be able to play around a little bit more just around the edges once I get to those sections, if that makes any sense. It's a terrible sound, so I apologize. I'm just going back and forth, kind of pushing that color right in. So we're not going all the way to the edge of where we were working. We're just getting most of the center, if that makes any sense. And don't push too hard where the paper gets dented. You don't want that. Try to prevent doing that. I think I might go over it with a little bit of white in some little parts. It doesn't brighten it up too much, like a lot, but it does enough that makes that I'm satisfied with it. Okay. And each set of pencils are going to act a little bit differently, so just play around with it. Like these ones I can actually erase with, but I'm going to try to avoid that so I can show you the techniques that would work with all pencils. If you want to challenge me and see if I can do a portrait with just Crayola pencils or anything like that, just send me a message and then we can do something like that. We can learn how to mix colors to get a very realistic portrait with the simplest pencil set you can possibly get. I'm up for the challenge. Okay, we're working on the ear. We're going to look at the brightest areas first and figure out what color it is. Yes, it does look white, but usually it's not actually white. So this one's actually kind of a little bit pinky purple and yellow. So I'm going to start with the very bright and very pale yellow, not bright, pale yellow. And we're going to fill it in. I'm going to hold it at the tip, not the tip of the pencil, the end of the pencil. And we're just going to fill in all those bright areas. I'm not worried about getting accurate at this point. I just want to fill it in. So pretty much the entire space is what we want to put it on. And we're just doing a very light layer. We're not putting a lot of pressure on it. Circular motions. And again, we're not worried about getting it in an exact space because we can go over it again with the darker pencils. But we're just trying to get that color. And there's a very, very light bit of purple, and it's only like on the outer edge. Purpley pink. I'm just gonna get a little bit on the outer edge here with that purple, yellow, purpley pink color. Very light pressure, circular motions. I don't have to be perfectly accurate. I don't have to be perfectly accurate with any of this, but don't worry about it as much. Okay. It's 12:30, but I will show you what we've done with the time-lapse video so far. So let's go. Here we go. So when we're done drawing for the day, and this will actually start off where you left off for the future stuff. So you go to record, you turn it off, and then just give it a minute. Come on, are you gonna do anything? Are you going to do anything? Okay. I turned off the record. Come on. Okay, just give me a minute. I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, just give me a second. Oh, it didn't. Oh, it's gone again. Just give me a minute while it comes back up. It disappeared. Okay. I just really want to show you this. So usually it shows you, but when you go into your saved projects, which it automatically saves for you, which is super awesome, you can press the little camera button here. Come on. Maybe it doesn't like me right now because I have so much going on. Okay, anyways, it does a quick time-lapse video, usually. I don't know, maybe it's because oh, here it is. Now it's popped up. So here we go. Let's watch it. This is what the time-lapse video looks like so far. And then there's that break, that very long break we took. So the more you draw, the more detailed it gets, the faster it goes, and you can't even notice those breaks. But if you want to make sure they don't have any breaks, just make sure you stop it when you leave and then restart it. But yeah. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll be back again next Friday from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. Mountain Time. And I'll just quickly say, if you want to try the app for free for a year, there's a promo code in the description for the iOS. If you're using Android, they just came out with their newer version of Android, so it's currently free. Some of the features requires you to watch an ad so that you can use it, but it's a great opportunity to try it before you buy it. And I recommend buying it sooner than later because in the past they've just grandfathered people into the price that they originally agreed upon. Join the Facebook group. It's the Vinci Eye Apps group. I'm always there checking it. So if you have questions, I'll answer. And I think that's it. You guys have a wonderful day, and thanks for all the support. I do really appreciate it. See you next week.